This Jacksonville Jaguars team preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is giving away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up with SGPN to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
This is Nate Collins. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money Graham with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Cram?
Dog. We're getting in the hot tub.
Oh yes.
Can the hot tub fit all of us? We got a packed house
so.
here.
Spuds, the ultimate party dog. You know, I mean, if there was any dog that was going to hang out in NFL Stadium, it would be Spuds at the Jag Stadium, joining us to talk all thing Jaguars. Our Southern California football expert, or Florida football
Jesus.
expert.
Well, that's Northern Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever. C.J. Sullivan, aka the Bet Detective.
Yes.
Oh, a perfect time for some Bet Detective, aka the Man in Box from the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. What's happening, C.J.?
What's up? I am a Northern Florida expert, of course. I've been to Jacksonville many times. Went to the Rock Festival there, Jackson. It's like Rocksonville or something. It's pretty. It's exactly what you think a rock festival in Jacksonville would be. It was amazing. I love Duval County.
And I think
Duval. Where does the name Duval come from?
Well, it's their
it's
county.
gotta be
Just the name of the county.
It's the county.
Just
It's the county. And then Duval became a thing. Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Duval. All right. I see why it's appealing.
Yeah. Jacksonville's a pretty wild town, actually.
And I believe, I'm checking this right now, but I believe it's one of the largest. Oh, of course, it's the outside of these strange Alaskan cities. It's the largest tribal space city in the United States by land. Jacksonville,
square
Florida.
miles.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So I don't know why I knew that. I think when I was at Tech, friend of the program, Sully, his brother played for the team, and they went to a bowl in Jacksonville and came back with some neato Jacksonville facts. That might have been where I got that information. So anyway, Jacksonville is number one at something, Sean.
Yeah.
That is good to know for the Jags.
But if you compare them to these Alaskan area, oh my goodness, they're still tiny. It's Sitka is 2,800 square miles. I mean,
doesn't really feel like a city at that.
That doesn't count. But Jacksonville, basically 750 square miles.
There's a Cat Williams Netflix special. A couple of he turns them out so with him, but he records in Jacksonville, and his opening 10 minutes. It's just local Jacksonville jokes. It's a worldwide format of Netflix, and it's hilarious because he's hilarious. But he's doing street specific neighborhood Jacksonville material to open up, and it's incredible.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
how he has not made it on the way to the soundboard. We got to get some. Cat Williams on the soundboard because I feel like he has a bunch of good potential drops. Maybe we'll check out the Jag special.
Well, and Jacksonville, almost 1 million people, 12th in the country in population. I mean,
who knew?
Much bigger than Denver.
You guys are really down on the Jaguars.
Basically the same size.
Now city facts.
Basically
delaying it.
It's the same population of Austin, Texas, a place everyone loves.
No, it's a lot of people. Florida's got so many people. It's all swampy areas. I mean, you see alligators walking around they're like, yeah, that's Joe. He bit a homeless guy's balls off last week. Just don't mess with him. It's just part of their life. And they blame they blame the drunk. If a drunk tries to mess with them. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
He's
that's Ollie.
Local Florida man.
He's harmless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep Jacksonville weird. We should try and get that going instead of Austin. Keep Jacksonville weird.
Local Florida man is a great bit.
Phrase that pays update again. 32 words. We're giving out one per team preview. You get all 32 correct in order. Submit it in. One lucky winner will get a $500 NFL Circa future. The Jaguars team preview word of the day is game with a question mark. Game question mark. Game question mark.
I did have someone ask me, Sean, if there's a better price at a different sports book, will we make a trek somewhere? And I said absolutely not.
Has to be. Well, yeah, because I want some comp points if I'm putting it in for you.
Or maybe
not.
if I'm there,
all right. And have you seen the temperatures in Las Vegas? So I'm not walking to another casino.
Yeah, no. But trust me, if it's at the Circa, it's the best price.
So, I mean,
that's true,
especially for a future because they have yes/no stuff. It would be awesome if someone just because in these contests you can never just take the cash.
Yeah.
But an easy way would just to be put $500 on no Cowboys Super Bowl, and then you're winning. You're just getting basically $500 free. Don't even have to worry about the sweat.
Plus a 50, a couple shekels. For your time.
You'll get a little. Basically, what you're gonna tip the person for cashing your ticket is probably what you get on the no. But still, good opportunity there. Jaguars 9-8 last year, straight up 9-8 ATS. Their win total was 9.5. They went under their win total. Kramer and I had the under, never in doubt. Although they did start out 8-3 before our hero Trevor Lawrence got banged up. Turnover margin sitting at -3. Kind of a weird season for them with the felt like they never really quite figured out the Calvin Ridley role. He never took off. And Trevor Lawrence, to his credit, he played through the pain. Probably shouldn't have played some of those games where he was out there, but not 100%. I don't
know about that because we saw a lot of bad backup quarterbacks play in the NFL. I think if you're a starter and you see that almost is like, I got to play through this. Also, I like the fact that he was trying to be tough. I think that resonates in the locker room as much as I like to clown on the guy. I'll never forget the
Goldilocks playing through pain.
Dude, I'll never forget the way that people when you watch the story of the 2007 Giants, a lot of the vets turned the corner on Eli when he played through that injury.
Yeah.
The entire team thought he was going to be out for a month. He didn't miss any games, and that kind of changed his narrative inside the locker room. So, we call him Goldilocks, but he strapped it up.
Extremely tough. He's got that weird Clemson Christian tough to him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He went to church. He went to church.
I as a fan wanted him to sit out, but that's why I think whatever. We'll get into it, but his number. I mean, the guy that collapsed the numbers, he was severely hurt.
Yeah,
people just don't factor it. They kind of dismiss that
because it's
because he played. He leaves himself open for that. If you're on the field, you're healthy enough.
There's two sides of it. There's the side of he was playing through pain and he had the season ended the way it ended because of that, or you could say the season tends to end that way, and every year there's a different reason.
Well,
why.
to me, the issue with Trevor Lawrence is the turnovers. 60 turnovers since 2021, worst in the NFL. That to me is right where it starts.
First of all,
that's a lot of turnovers.
It took a year to shake Urban Meyer out of his whole system too.
Get the stink off Urban Meyer.
Gotta get that Urban Meyer cloud, this gross cloud off him. And I know, and the turnovers are what they are, but I feel like fumbles are kind of freakish too, as well. And it's something that can be fixed. It will be fixed. Not
he does have that that gene of having too much naivete of where the pass rush is. Right. I think.
Yeah, but it's not all pass rush too. Obviously, he rushes a lot too, and he's got those long, loaf of bread arm kind of things. He's going all day.
Yeah,
but a lot of them, are exchanges too. Like a quarterback, he'll take the fumble. The Tank Bigsby.
Oh, I like that.
Tank Bigsby will blow an exchange.
Yeah, they were second in the NFL in fumbles last year. So usually that bounces back, but I do worry.
It's kind of like your Caitlin Clark turnovers. It's not his fault that he's got mopped back there fumbling exchanges.
Can we play some breaking news? Caitlin Clark, not very good. I was engaged in a furious battle with someone unnamed on the internet to win a LSU signed Angel Reese jersey.
Oh,
did not win. This person was willing to go a little bit further than I was. I drew the line at $150.
Oh man!
Wow.
I was already at the point where I was like, this is too much, but I'm not losing to this motherfucker.
Right. That's how they run their business. I'm sure that guy worked.
Anyway,
Trevor Lawrence, to me, the more I watch him, the more I see him, the more I'm thinking Carson Wentz 2.0, where he has some fumbling issues. He's perpetually kind of banged up. He has some wow moments, some wow throws. But
was Carson Wentz a really good deep ball guy?
Yeah, he had a ton of great deep
for
balls.
sure.
I do think Trevor Lawrence throws one of the better deep balls.
And I think Trevor Lawrence
was a great deep ball.
His weakness is that he holds onto the ball too long, tries to make a play, and that's where you can get the fumbles. That's where you can get the turnovers. And he's coached up by Doug Peterson. So I think there's a ceiling for this Jags team.
Where are you at on Doug P? Because you were in on Doug P at some point.
I think Doug Peterson is a quality head coach, but I don't think he lives and breathes football like some of these football coaches. But I think that relaxed approach works with certain teams, certain cities. Like I don't think he could have lasted longer in Philadelphia. But I think Jacksonville probably is the best spot for a coach like Doug Peterson. Maybe it's just how he looks in the visor. I think he does. I think guys like playing for him. I do worry that he's got Press Taylor as his offensive coordinator. I don't think he was a great coach up in Philadelphia. Press Taylor was doing the play calling last year. Now they won't announce who is doing the play calling. It seems like Doug P may be clawing back the play calling duties from Press Taylor. His commitment to Press Taylor and some of these other guys around him, I think really is not
so
good.
Dable struggled with this recently. And it's like, dude, no one's going to get mad. Like you're the offensive guy.
Yeah.
If things aren't going well and you decide to call the plays because that's what you were great at. Like no one's going to really get mad at you. And they do this thing where they like tiptoe around it for a while. 'Cause they don't want to hurt someone's feelings, but it's like, oh, obviously people can see who's calling the play in training camp.
Yeah.
And for the Giants situation, they finally came out and aired it, and they're like, "Yeah, no, Dable's calling the plays this year." But it does seem like not only are they not being forthright with the information, it feels like they're getting a little defensive about it.
Sure.
So I don't know. Like to your point, Sean, I'm not as deep in on the loyalty.
The Press Taylor thing, yeah.
But it does just from the vibes of the beat. It seems like they're at least frustrated with not getting answers.
And I would say the secondary to me, defense lost two guys who had over 300 snaps, both generating 73 plus PFF coverage grade. I just think there's some holes on the Jacksonville secondary that could be could be a little problematic. CJ, as a Jags insider, are we getting any, Brian Thomas buzz? I know he was early on. Yeah. There was some hype about him. I haven't really seen any Brian Thomas buzz in camp, but
no, and there's a reason for that, Sean.
And what is that?
Yeah, well, Brian Thomas, who is 33-1 a Rookie of the Year for Bet Online,
nice. Way to layer that in there.
Who runs a nice 4.340, who is a vertical deep threat type of receiver.
Yep.
Jacksonville and Press Taylor want to do a vertical style pass, as you were saying in the pre-show. Trevor Lawrence, one of the best deep ball passers in the league.
Concur with that thought.
They revamped their entire receiving corps. They got rid of old ass Ridley and Zay Jones and those bombs. I know you guys are big Ridley stands here, but they bring in a Gabe Davis to go along with Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas. And the reason why Brian Thomas hasn't run any deep patterns yet in training camp because Doug Peterson during training camp likes to bring. He doesn't like to run those routes because he thinks it puts a little too much stress on the body coming from no football to all of a sudden 2-a-days, and that's how the hamstring injuries start coming up. And it also happened to the receivers like last year. So they want to do bubble screens, routes that he's not used to doing. So you're not seeing those plays that you want to see, those highlights that come out of camp of Brian Thomas beating someone deep, but they will come. So I do think there's a value there at LSU. He's also a quiet guy, Brian Thomas. He's not your normal receiver who has a Bembo's like personality that you would see on the Netflix shows and whatnot. He's very introvert. But Doug and Press said, we just want you to be you, Brian. Whatever he's blending it personally. Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds like Treylon Burks 2.0.
So they got the cuffs on him right now just so he can learn some short routes, intermediate routes, and not stretch out those hamstrings.
So just general take on first round receivers not flashing in camp. I'm highly concerned.
Oh wow!
Okay.
Because I feel like we live in a social media time where every team. How many first round receivers have you not seen flash? Sean.
Yeah.
So that's a little concerning, but I agree. I think Brian Thomas.
I remember. I mean,
I think this.
I remember a man named Jamar Chase who everyone hated.
Oh,
upon
yeah, you're right.
during a training camp.
Couldn't track the ball because it didn't have the white
Catching
line
problems.
from
My God.
the college
that's
football
fair,
balls.
but it's not drops. It's more just like not playing a ton. So yeah, if he's got to
You
be able to
can
be
do revisionist history all you want, but I remember he was in a void because of how bad he was at camp.
Sean and I were not in that camp, if I recall.
Fair enough,
We probably were clowning those people,
Yeah.
but I do think I like this strategy of going out, drafting a guy in Brian Thomas, signing a guy in Gabe Davis. Maybe
Yes.
they do similar things.
Christian Kirk
You kind of have
coming
this
back, missed 5 games.
this yin and yang. Yeah, you have Kirk and Ingram who are going to work the middle of the field, work the shorter game, also the running backs, and then you have these obvious deep threats that, from a best ball standpoint, Sean, I'm sure you haven't drafted a ton of Gabe Davis or Brian Thomas. I was drafting Brian Thomas before he got drafted by the Jags. I thought he was going to be an interesting first year. Well, because of that, whoever drafted him, my take was whoever drafted Brian Thomas is going to want to immediately put him in to working down the field. And a little bit like George Pickens, where like I think what he's going to be good at right away is just beating people deep, maybe not doing everything else. And so it does match up with Trevor Lawrence.
It's what they want to do.
It does. I will say this, Sean. As I prepared for this episode, I was surprised at how many conclusions I was drawing that were more not as negative as I wanted to be on the Jags.
It's fun to fade the Jags. And Ryan, obviously we're super high on the Titans. I'm not. I can't really fade the Colts because I think they have a little bit of a mojo going. And then Texans, I don't think I'm going to be as high as market, but I can't completely fade them. Like
you know
7
what I did?
and 10.
So I said, you know what? Anthony Richardson didn't play through injury. Trevor Lawrence did.
Shout out to Trevor.
I had a moment where I was like, all right, this is an interesting. Why should I be higher on the Colts? Well, I'm not even that high on than I am the Jags.
Right.
Feels like a silly take. And so I had to have a real honest moment with myself. But I did want to hear your Press Taylor take because it does seem like the one thing that fans, the media, everyone is agreeing on is they don't like this guy. And so I hear all the talk about how this is what the offense is going to look like. But is it going to be Doug P calling the plays? Do we even like that?
Yeah, I think it is Doug P calling the plays, and I think it's an upgrade.
And I got to be high on this.
Well,
team.
I think it's an upgrade from Press Taylor because Press Taylor is not good at play calling.
What's he doing then? Because
he's the offensive coordinator, doesn't call plays. Your job, you're hanging on by a thread.
Well, so I can tell you in Giants land, what that means is Kafka's running a lot of meetings. Like he's still doing a lot of the work. He's just not going to be calling the plays.
Yeah,
which seems like like if you're a head coach, you probably don't want to be running these extra meetings. So that makes sense. So do we like Press Taylor running the meetings?
I don't have a meetings handicap for Press Taylor. All right, Ryan, shout out to underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN, deposit match up to $250 in bonus cash. Ryan was just talking about some best ball stacks getting, I think the Trevor Lawrence stacks with Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, kind of fun. Evan Ingram had an insane year fantasy football last year. We'll see if he can run that back. But the pick'em, super fun. I mean, you can get in on Olympics pick'em. You can go on an 11-0 heater, win 100x. Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Circa Las Vegas. Love Circa, love the contest. Of course, 16 million in guaranteed prizes, 2 ways to win. Circa Millions, 6 million up for grabs. If you think you can dominate picking ATS, you got to go in on Circa Millions. And Circa Survivor, 10 million. Just imagine the nightmare scenario of you winning an Office Survivor and not having also played Circus Survivor. You'll never be able to forgive yourself. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. And of course, contest weekend, August 22nd through to the 24th. Use that promo code SGP. 15% off your hotel stay. And our buddy Vegas Maddie, get you hooked up with the proxy.footballcontest.com. Promo code SGP, get your $50 off your proxy fee. Circusports.com. Shout out to the chat. I see Justin Steele in the chat. Huge fan of Justin Steele, coming off a nice win.
Is he related to Lexington?
I don't know. Carson Steele, Justin Steele, both friends of the show. Carson Steele's been lighting up Chiefs camp as a possible fullback. Justin Steele, though, check out his. He's got a podcast, Steal the Show, over on Barstool. So check that out. Shout out to you, Justin. Thanks for checking in.
Possible fullback. I love that. Well,
Carson Steele's doing anything he can to make the team.
Yeah, so for that is play the white positions.
Yeah.
I will say, oh, nice.
And Justin Steele confirming not related to Lexington Steele.
I guess some might say that's too bad, but yeah, it's nice that he knows who Lexington is. Carson Steele didn't even know who that was. Didn't know who Lexington Steele was, and we were all right. If you're gonna Google him, make sure you don't do it on like a school computer. There, we don't want to get you in trouble. Yeah. Last thing on the Steels, if you didn't watch Andy Reid talking about Carson Steele playing fullback and being able to do those things, but also do the other things.
He seemed kind of excited.
He's making the team.
Yeah, I hope. Hopefully, he makes it.
Coach speak index. He's making the team. I mean, come on. This is the guy who's carried Noah Gray for like 4 years. And he definitely is. Kadarius Toney's in the running back.
To your point, Ryan.
You taking Carson Steele or Kadarius Toney?
Well, Kadarius Toney's already banged up. That's how you know football season's back. But he was playing the H-back role with Noah Gray. So I think he's got to. I think it's huge. Yeah. For him to make the team. So shout out to you, Carson.
Andy Reid is way ahead of the curve and realizing that you should just have a couple. Like if a guy's a good football player, you can figure the rest.
Well, that's
out.
What Reid does. He just gets bored. He brought in a rugby player. He's like, I want to see if this kangaroo can play. Is there anything in the rules about that?
Well, when they did the ring around the rosy thing, you're like, all right.
All right.
He's just he's got a lot of time on his hand. Just drop some plays. Kramer, let's talk let's take a look at the odds for the Jags here.
Let's do that.
Win total sitting at 8.5. Make playoffs plus 124. Miss playoffs minus 152. Division at plus 270. Conference 23-1. Super Bowl 45-1. I don't see myself getting down on division just because I'll take the long shot on the Titans there. But yeah, AFC South, the rest of it should be kind of a shit show here. CJ, any of these jumping out of you before we walk through the schedule here?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the over 8.5 therefore. And I like the division. I even saw a 3-1. I'll take 270 as well because I know we'll get into it, but you guys like every other team in this division but the Jaguars. Yeah. They're all these young little strumpets that you guys are kind of having flings with, because they're the it girl, if you will. Your Texans and your Colts and even your Titans with your Levis, but you can set your watch to Jacksonville. She's the lady at home. You don't want to leave.
You come home, dinner's ready.
Dinner's ready. She'll get.
Don't have to worry about her stepping out on you.
She'll get dossied up on Saturday, but yeah, no, she's not going to put on the outfits every day of the week for you because you're going to get bored of that.
No lingerie midweek, but special occasions.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. She's not going to take you to some damn music festival on a Wednesday. You're like, what am I doing here? God. Trust me, as a man who's recently divorced and is out there, you don't want to be out there. It's rough out there.
That's a great Seinfeld scene where George is single and then his mom becomes single and she's like, I'm out there. He's like, no, you're not out there. Right. I'm out there, and you cannot be in the same there. That we're both not out there.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it firsthand. What I have to do out in Laguna talking to these people. I mean, it's just not good. You know what I mean?
Stay safe out there.
A female that was at the show was I saw some numbers getting exchanged post show.
So. I mean, God bless. It's it's tough out there, but you take it in. But but that makes you realize what you have at home. And Jacksonville's what you have at home. They know how to get it done. This was a team 2 years ago. I mean, obviously they had a big comeback playoff win versus Chargers.
It's true.
This is what they had a great.
That's a positive spin. I mean, because you could look at it as a Jags playoff comeback or one of the greatest collapses of all time by the Chargers.
Sure. And then when it went into Kansas City next week and gave them a nice game. They played them very well. That's why everyone got high on Jacksonville coming into last year, and they did well. They came out 8-3, and then Lawrence had that horrendous Monday night injury where he's in the corridor, no golf cart, walking like Mean Joe Green, living in. You're like, oh, he's never going to play again. Then he comes back and plays through it to his detriment or his whatever. I think people were just being way too tough on his team, and that was very recent. The second half of 2022 and the first half of 2023, you put that together, that's like 17, 18 very good games.
Kramer, Should we walk through the schedule?
We should. I do think. Yeah, I think what you have here is you have a situation where, for me at least, as I was getting really towards the tail end of the Colts stuff, and realizing that I think the Colts and the Jags, I couldn't be high or low on both. And when comparing the two, I was like, this is weird that the Colts are being seen as the same team as the Jags, because to what CJ is saying, one of these teams has had a little success, and one is basically just off of fairy dust and what the head coach, what
AR-15 could be.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Which we can do that about Kyle Pitts too. We can join that Colts army.
No, but this is only year.
If you're
two.
going to call Trevor Lawrence Carson Wentz, and that's fair.
Okay, so let's
if we get to year 4 with AR-15, then let's
hop into the time machine. Sure. Year 2, Kyle Pitts. You believe this guy?
If you look at his per route run,
they loved his yards per route run metrics. They were through the roof. They were elite, like Jamar Chase.
Tough start though for this Jags team.
Sean
3 road games.
Really wants to get into the hot tub, but we can't because we got 3 road games in the first 4 at Miami, a little Florida on Florida, which you always hate that because you want to play the Florida home teams, but not when you have another one coming to town. They're a little bit more equipped. Browns coming down to Florida. That feels like a place we'll be looking to take the Jags, and then at Bills on Monday night. At Texans, the 3 road games in the first 4 games, never nice. They also worth noting it's the early Monday night spot. There'll be a double header week 3. This is a 4:30 kick on the West Coast. So 7:30.
All 4 playoff teams too. Like that's not an easy start. And at Texans, you get a short week, a back-to-back road spot. You got to go up to Buffalo, play the early Monday night game. Then you got to go at Houston to play the Texans. I do like them. I feel like I'm going to be on them versus the Browns. That heat and humidity, Myles Garrett sweating his ass off, distractions everywhere for Deshaun Watson.
Sucking, like the Orchids of Day Spa is like right down the street.
At Dolphins though,
Robert Kraft is good.
Him and Deshaun Watson.
Know when to
off-field friends.
At Dolphins, that is a tough spot, man.
Yeah,
because of what I talked about with the Jags secondary. So maybe the Jags are a team that start out slow and then maybe we bet them later.
That secondary isn't great. You're right, but they are good at turning the ball over. They're not good at they give up big plays, which is not a good recipe for Miami.
No. So and Tua will be healthy because it's week 1. But CJ, as the Jags homer here, how high can you get this Jags team in this first quadrant?
Well, the first quadrant's not great.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one. But obviously, but I don't think in that at Texans game, obviously everyone's going to be Texans are the hottest. Everyone loves the Texans. Last year,
they beat them in Houston.
They beat them in Houston in a game that they needed and that Houston both needed. And that was a great game by Lawrence and in the road. Now, Texans destroyed them. That's what they at Jacksonville.
That was kind of a coming out party for Stroud too, right?
Yeah, for sure, exactly. And there was a kick out. There was a lot of freak things. Kicked me out of the Survivor. Anyway, point is, very tough quadrant to open it up. I still think the schedule after this really opens up for them. Where I don't see, but I see a couple coin toss games. Who knows what these Bills are going to be? The Texans.
I feel like I like the number in the Bills. I don't know if they went outright though.
No, for sure. I mean, now that I look at it, I know that you can play those first 5 games. You can make a case they go 0-5 for crying out loud. But I think they survive. I think they do beat Cleveland there. I don't like them being at Miami or Buffalo or Texans and then beating Colts at home. So if they go 2-3 there, I don't think it's that bad.
1-3 or 2-2.
I see what you're saying. The quadrant. Okay. It looks like 1-3 to me. For sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
And I'm not worried. And I'm not worried about it.
Well, especially if the Homer Jags fan over here, CJ, has 1-3. I feel comfortable firing 1-3. Kramer, what are you doing?
Worth pointing out that the historical flow chart would tell you that Houston dominates the Jags. But I feel like there's new equations with CJ Stroud, and last year they split. They each held serve on the road.
Yep.
So I guess here's what I'm gonna do. Because the flow chart essentially for most of the other matchups, we're talking about weird splits like road team advantage. In fact, a lot of the AFC flow chart is road team advantage or X team covers against Y team. I think I'm just going to chop the division. So I'll give all the road teams. I don't see how you can pick them to beat the Dolphins or the Bills. 1-3 feels like I'm even being a little optimistic.
I will
This is
say
my
this about-
rosy lens.
And I will say this about Doug Peterson too. There, he's not great last year as the favorite, but as an underdog.
Yeah.
When you count him out, they'll get the dog mask on. They'll put it on. Chris Long style.
Really, there is something
know?
to Doug Peterson
Right.
as an underdog, and you're right. Like I guess laying 6.5 against the Patriots, I actually probably do like him there. But yeah, big favorite spots are trouble for Doug P in general.
And then this is kind of this next chunk of the schedule is probably what decides if they go over their win total or not. Because reminder, they only have 7 home games because they give up. That actually, I think my math is wrong because one of those is not a home game for them.
Right.
So they actually have 8 home. No,
they only have
AFC,
6 true home games.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
the other
6 true ones, but both those London games are considered home games. How's that?
No.
possible?
They have 8 home games because they're in the AFC this year. They lose one of them.
Right.
So they're down to 7.
It's got to be. They can't give them both London.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure the other one.
One of them has to be a road.
No, I think I don't know. I read in Cleve TA's. Oh, so yeah, it does look like they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I think I'm right. It's
Okay.
7 home games, 8 road games, and 2 neutral site games. So they lost a home and a road game.
Okay.
Still, 7 home games is going to be 2 less than some teams in the NFC. For the basic arithmetic crowd. All right, Colts. This feels like the pivot point on their schedule. At home, Bears in London, which I believe this is technically a Bears home game. Then the Patriots game, which is technically their home game, will be the second game in London. I really do think this is going to become a massive advantage year over year.
Well,
for
the second week especially.
You don't beat Jacksonville in London. Let's just get that over with. There's not even analysis here.
It's not even a joke because just the fact that they know where they're going, they do the trip every year. They have football teams need a schedule, and that's what most teams screw up. And so I do think that more. There are some teams that maybe are a little smarter than the next, but I think the Jags going to London, they're at the tip of the spear.
They know the spots,
and
where
then
to go.
the 4th in the quadrant. Yeah, exactly. They know what water to avoid. Then the 4th game in the quadrant at home against Packers. Sean, this is an interesting section because I said I'm going to split the division in games, so that's a win. I think the Bears are very overrated.
Well, rookie quarterback in London. I think just start there.
And so for the Jags to hit this stretch, go 2-0 in London, and then come home and face. I mean, Trevor Lawrence versus Jordan Love is like that Spider-Man meme for me.
Yeah,
2 guys who are probably a little overrated, but even I would put Trevor Lawrence above Jordan Love in my rankings.
It's a non-conference road favorite spot for the Packers, which is always trouble as a cover.
And the Packers have absolutely shit the bed in Jacksonville before. Remember that Aaron Rodgers start to the season where they actually get
first
boat
game.
raced?
I say that
this could be 4-0.
It could be. I'll go 3-1. I think they win the 2 London games, and then 1-1. They could go 2-2. I'll err slightly conservative 3-1. CJ, what are you doing?
What I don't like about I definitely have them that 3-0 run there. Colts double London.
Yeah,
back to back. The Packers game, they are coming back from London, which is an issue. No bye. 2 weeks over there. Now we all know 2 weeks in London is a lot different than 1 week in London. It's not more of a whirlwind. You can kind of stay a little too long. You outstay your welcome.
The power adapters. You got to switch those to get your phone charged.
A lot of complaints.
You got to convert all your money from euros.
Worth noting that the Packers that is a sandwich spot, like Sean was saying. Weird. It's their only road game in a 5-week stretch off of Houston and then Detroit on deck. So it's not exactly, a walk in the park.
So it's a bad spot for Green Bay, you're saying?
I could. What I've been doing for every team preview is essentially when I need to crafting a situational spot. But yeah, I would say that in general, if you start with the idea that non-conference road spots aren't the best situation, you add in that they're coming off a game against Houston. They're going to Detroit the following week, which is a big rivalry game. I'm going to go 4-0.
I like that.
4-0. Wow.
4-0.
CJ, can you pull the 4-0 trigger here for your Jags?
And it's for my Jags here.
I just used the Kramer sound effect for the first time.
Now I want to go 3-1 here. I think they lose at Packers just because it's 3 home wins in a row, and then the coming back from London. In 2 weeks.
So Kramer is leader in the clubhouse right now, having the Jags 5-3. I'm sitting at 4-4. CJ's 4-4. This is a interesting quadrant as well here. What do we got, Kramer?
Yeah, we go at Philly, which
loss.
I think the road games are going to be tricky for the Jags in general on the season. Vikings at home. At Lions, another really tough spot. A late bye week, which I think I'm okay with for this team, and then the Texans coming off the bye week at home. So again, I said I'm splitting the divisional game, so that's a win. I think they lose the road games, and I'm not very high on what this Vikings team might be this year. So I certainly would have to pick this. So that I guess I'm going 2 wins there.
2-2. CJ, what are you doing? I mean, I want to try and get off the 500 mark for this team, but 2-2 just makes a ton of sense.
You're seeing the fact that they have a bottom half of the league difficult instead of strength of schedule. Again, that's the AFC South. I think in general the schedule looks lighter because all the teams are kind of. But outside of that, the non-divisional games, they definitely have some very winnable games.
I'll go 2-2.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-2 as well. And I will say this: I mean, all these games that we're piling up that have lost as Lions, Packers, even Bills, even the ones we're giving Browns. Like statistics say they're going to win like 2 of those 5 or 2 of the 6. Of the coin flip games. Kind of much.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that. So.
Well, and this is another time to point that out. I mean, we keep highlighting. How often is this team really a big dog?
Right.
Not too many times on the season are they catching more than a field goal. I think the number is 5 games, and to relative to the number being favored in 9 games when your win total is 8.5 minus 110 to the over.
It's a great number.
I kind of was like in this weird swirling pattern of trying to find something to get me off of being lukewarm to positive on the Jags, but just everything about this team suggests that they like the floor that people think the Colts have. I feel like the Jags have. All right. Wait, so what? Give me a record recap here. I don't want to do something.
Right now you're at 7-5. I'm at 6-6. CJ 6-6.
Okay.
I'm looking back. I got the Colts at somehow I got them up to 10-7, and then I also have Tennessee 10-7.
Okay, so you better pull the.
There's only so many wins available in the AFC South here.
I think I had the Colts at 8-9, so I'm in a little better shape than you. I think. All right.
This is where the rubber hits the road.
5 games in the final quadrant. All of these games are tight spreads.
Right.
So we have they have not played the Titans yet. So at Titans, then Jets at home, at Raiders, Titans at home, at Colts. So again, I said I was going to chop the divisional games up because the flow chart I think might need to be redone with all the quarterback movement in the division and change of style for some of these teams. So that's a starting point of 1 and 2 with the Jets and the Raiders. Sean, I don't think the Jags fans are going to take over the Raiders stadium. That's usually part of that handicap. So shocking. I'm higher on the Raiders than most, but maybe I'll just split the home road games there and just say 2 and 3 to finish it out.
2 and 3 to finish it out. So you have them going 9 and 8. Yeah. Oh man,
that is a cop out. Feels like a cop out pick.
You know what?
Slightly over.
I'm gonna be slightly under here. I think this is a really tough stretch.
What?
Well, I do think they beat the Raiders. I'll go 2 and 3.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about? I like the Titans. I think they split with the Titans.
All right.
And then I think they either win.
What do you got, CJ?
And I think 2 and 3 makes a ton of sense for this team in these final 5 games because I don't think they're going to beat the Titans twice. So that's 1 and 1. And then between Jets at home, at Raiders, at Colts, I think they beat at Raiders, but Jets at home and Colts on the road, I think could be tough.
I have them coming out of the bye focused. They see the opportunity in front of them,
locked in.
The season is now theirs for the grabbing. They went through the tough stuff there in the early on. Texans at home is a W, only because they lost to one. If they will split the Texans no matter what. They're gonna run through. The late season Titans, Jets at home. I mean, the Raiders. I don't want to hear about
Kramer's way higher on the Raiders than
I have them going 5-1 to finish off the bye, and the only reason why they're losing is because they're going to bench everyone week 18 versus the Colts because the division will be locked up by then.
So last 5, you have them 4-1. Then
I have What do we have? 6 games after the bye?
Yeah, but we did games 9 through 12. You had them 2-2.
Okay.
So that was up until,
Right.
So sorry,
So
no,
we
that
start
included
with the Texans, right?
No,
No,
well,
Texans
'cause-
were included in the last.
Yeah, sorry.
Eagles
so 9 through 13.
Oh, Eagles, Vikings, 2-2. Okay, so last 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have them 4-1, and I have them
10-7.
Yeah, 10-7.
So
and that's only because they got a bench versus the Colts
I would concede that I think
or one of the Titans losses. Either way.
if the Raiders, so my issue is like normally I would say cool, yeah, I basically gave them every road game as a loss, and so can they maybe scoop steal a road game? Like the divisional games again, put them to the side. That's 3-3. All the other road games were losses.
Right.
Of those 5 games, could they scoop one of them? Yeah, maybe. Could it be the Raiders game? Maybe. So maybe I have an upside of 10-7 myself. But I'll leave it at 9 and I'll stick with the 9 and 8. I think it lines up better where I want my final division predictions at.
Yeah.
And it allows me to take because I do think the more that I looked at this, Sean, the more that the over does seem like a good bet to me.
Here's my argument for the over with that. And as far as how I look at things, I look at like there's like a couple games that I pretty much lock them in for the wins. The double London games.
Yeah.
Obviously New England, Chicago. I think you said
That's
it's
very nice.
Right. Very kind of almost a waste. You said you have those teams in London because that's how much they dominate there.
That's fine though. I think it's just take the dubs, you know.
Vikings, and I'm even going to put the Raiders in that one. So I'm putting those 4 wins in there. Division, their absolute floor is to go 3-3 in a division.
Oh, interesting.
There's no one's going to sweep them. I mean, maybe Texans possibly if they do. I just don't see that. I think with a possibility of going 4-2, but I'll just say 3-3 to be.
So historically, the Titans and the Texans strangely own the Jags.
Yeah,
they're
for sure.
Like I said, I think the flow chart needs updating.
So 3-3 with the 4 wins, that's 7 wins right there. And now you have the rest are kind of I'd say coin toss. You just got to get 2. And statistically speaking, of what you got like 7 coin tosses after that. You just got to get 2 of those.
Yeah, you just got to get heads to land on twice out of 7 flips.
Between Cleveland, Green Bay, Detroit, Philly, Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets, you just got to grab 2 of those.
Yeah, I mean, there are 12 games where they are favored or a dog of 2 or less.
Yeah, so I think you're getting a sweet number here with 8.5. They were 9.5 last year, and because everyone's down on them, I think they're going to be an improved team.
And it does seem like the combination of maybe Doug Peterson calling plays, maybe attacking.
That is definitely helpful.
Maybe attacking the ball, attacking down the field more.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about their O-line improvement too, because their O-line was a disaster last year. I mean, they couldn't run the ball at all, and that's the reason why Lawrence got hurt and rookie receivers running wrong routes. The receivers and O-line was a mess. They brought in Mitch Morris, I'm sorry, from Buffalo to play center, and there was the other guy.
They
brought in or something. His name's a city.
I don't think they brought anyone else in.
Or maybe they traded for him late last year. That's what's going on.
Harrison, maybe. I think
his name's like Cleveland or something. Either way, the O-line will be improved.
Ezra Cleveland.
Yeah, Ezra Cleveland. That's correct. And so I do think that'll help. And then I'll talk about the defense later as soon as we get into it. I have a couple.
Yeah, let's talk best bets before we do that.
Right.
Our best bets when it comes to AI picks, projections, you know what it is. Rhythm, the place for AI sports picks and props. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. They got the NFL, not the NFL props, but they do have the NFL game stuff up as part of their model. They have the college football top 5 predictions. You can get their model. It is just, I mean, it's just awesome to be just looking at picks here for the NFL right around the corner. Speaking of, they actually like the Jags. We talked about that early Monday night game. They like the Jags money line against the Bills September 23rd there.
That makes sense.
They have them the win, basically the money line they think has at least a 40.6 probability. So at +172, that is they suggest firing on that. Again, you can use their model or you can build your own, and you're not in there as like tinkering away. You just basically go, what stats do you like? You click on it and then you hit a button, make my model, and it's there. It's very easy. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm get you the 7-day free trial. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. and maybe you want to check out your Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if they specify the hot tub tickets, but you can head over to gametime.co or download the Game Time app. CJ is wearing a Phillies hat. In fact, if you want last minute tickets to a game, maybe you want to go see Justin Steele and the Cubs pitch. Maybe you want to see our Phillies whack the Dodgers, whatever it is. Promo code SGPN, get you $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Use gametime.co. And it's not just sports, which obviously it's great for, but tickets to music, concerts, comedy. I saw the Grateful Dead at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Highly recommend seeing that ticket, and you can get those tickets over on Game Time. Use that promo code SGPN. Get you $20 off. GameTime.co. Promo code SGPN. Shout out to Alan Strickland Williams, comedian and Jags super fan, checking in.
Love Alan.
He's saying CJ knows what's up. Super Bowl. Although he thinks Jags will lose both London games. Just to be fair.
No, not against the Patriots.
It is just such a Florida thing of, hey, we got a football team and they play in London twice a year. It's just such a clash of cultures, where a culture known for jet skis and strip clubs and having a hot tub in the stadium.
Kenny Powers
to take it over to their home away from home. Being London it's really, if we're gonna send one team to England, it's got to be the Jets.
This is probably maybe too inside Florida, but Kenny Powers' character is from Jacksonville.
Oh yeah. And
is that what the intent?
Alan pointing out they don't have a floor; they have a swimming pool. So you don't want to end up in the Jags deep end.
Well, you know what happens? You get too close to the bottom of those hot tubs, you get sucked down there. And
the drain.
Yeah.
There's a great Always Sunny episode where they discuss the drain. Shout out. Just go. I think it was like Mac at the water park. Highly recommend that one. All right, Kramer. What do you like in the futures market?
You got to start with Trevor Lawrence most interceptions.
Do you? Because it's only 12-1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, we missed the boat.
Did we? Like, I feel.
My paper ticket is for 25-1 at the circuit.
Yeah, I swore we gave it out
maybe
much
even
higher.
40-1. Hold on, let me.
Yeah, where in my head I have some discussion of us talking like Trevor 30-1 most interception, but at 12-1, I don't think you can bet that anymore.
No, that the paper. Yeah. Oh, wow. I love the CLV I have in that paper ticket. I'll have to take a picture and share it with everyone and brag. But yeah, who's the favorite?
Who's the favorite?
If you're looking at the updated odds.
Updated odds right now. Josh Allen, most interceptions 8-1. Jaden Daniels 8-1. Caleb Williams 10-1. Will Levis 10-1. Derek Carr 12-1. Bo Nix 12-1. Baker Mayfield 12-1. Trevor clocking in at 12-1. Yeah, I see the case because he's going to be out there. I mean, if Mac Jones sees the field, it's bad times here for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, have you seen any of the Mac Jones highlights?
Are they highlights?
No, they're not highlights.
Okay,
that was a joke.
No.
I mean, honestly, the other angle that as I was digging into this more, that it really makes me believe that either Evan Ingram or Christian Kirk is going to have a tremendous catch here.
Total catches.
So let me ask you, which guy, or maybe I should ask CJ, which guy is it, CJ? Who, if you're betting receptions,
right?
Which, if they please just put receptions in the right place. It's like hidden in rookie leaders. If you had to take the receptions guy for the Jags to lead the league, yes,
that's tough. I mean, Ingram, of course, had the monster year. I think he had the fourth most catches of anyone last year in the NFL.
Yeah, that was insane.
Pretty crazy. But he barely did he even crack 1,000 yards? It was all by line of scrimmage.
I don't care about yards though.
No, I know that.
963.
But I say that, which is kind of an odd number.
Yeah, 114 catches, 963, and there's a bunch of, even though Calvin Ridley didn't feel like a great year, he still did have 76 catches for 1,000 yards. So that production's got to go somewhere.
For sure. And they had a lot of drops too, but I think they're going to stretch Ingram out a little more. They want him to go downfield more. So I don't know if he's going to have the same amount of catches. I mean, his total is 86.5, which is a huge number.
So he was 5 off if you exclude CeeDee Lamb and the outlier 135, he was 5 off of Tyreek Hill and Amon-Ra for second.
It's pretty wild.
Well then, so maybe you're bringing it to So then what?
I'm a Christian Kirk guy though. He missed 5 games last year. So the offense kind of changed. They were moving around, and Ingram was the only one they could rely on last year.
Sean, Christian Kirk to lead the league in receptions is 65-1.
I like that.
Ooh.
No.
And now, what was Christian Kirk's total receptions?
That would be one of the
57, but as CJ said, he missed 5 games. Do you like that, or do you like? What about a little more reasonable? Christian Kirk. I know you hate reasonable bets, but Christian Kirk to lead the AFC South in receiving yards at plus 550. Do we like that one? No,
I don't want.
so.
If I'm doing a Kirk or an Ingram bet, it's going to be receptions.
All right, I'm down for a long shot.
If you wanted to hop into the receiving yards, I think you would in the AFC South, you would have to look at one of the rookie or either Gabe Davis or Brian Thomas.
No, I like your Christian Kirk most receptions, 75-1. I'll add that to my portfolio here. All right, that feels pretty good.
So if I'm playing, so what I was gonna say is that I'm pairing Christian Kirk to have the most receptions with Trevor Lawrence in my most interceptions CLV. That to me feels like a ceiling outcome.
I'll do this
in that Trevor Lawrence is out there a ton. They're slinging the rock. Things are going well. He's a gunslinger, so he's getting some interceptions.
To me, and we haven't talked about this market at all, Ryan. I think it's an interesting
new market alert.
It's an interesting market alert or market to break down, and because I have trouble building a case against some of these AFC South teams, and you and I are both irrationally high on the Tennessee Titans. What if?
Why is it irrational? The slot machine told us.
The slot machine did tell us. It's been speaking to us.
The slot. How's the slot?
I could have used this information before the show started.
Division with the most combined wins.
It's a good market.
So obviously, you would expect have the most, or you would expect with no ties. Now the AFC South, unfortunately, I feel like is known for ties, so that might eat away from their guaranteed division wins. But what do you think the AFC South is most division wins? Or sorry, most wins.
All football?
Wins.
Not just AFC.
So 8 divisions.
Okay.
AFC South.
So, I was trying to in my head.
Ryan's trying to do the math.
Doing the calculation.
14-1.
I was just gonna say plus 650.
Are you kidding me? NFC South is the long shot at 16-1. AFC South 14-1 compared to the AFC North. AFC North is plus 225. Now that's because all 4 teams have a high win total. Right. You know, the Steelers are always above 500 last year's stuff. But AFC South, if we're right about the Titans making a jump, that's a fun way to bet.
All right, so
the AFC South.
The NFC South clearly should be the benchmark. But even if you're comparing it that way, you have like this. I've kind of come to the conclusion that I don't think any of the teams are going to be bad. So I like that angle.
And you don't want to be too good like the AFC North. You beat each other up. That's why you get that 2 plus 220. That's a joke.
And my projections are basically including a safety net of 3-3 in the division. So that I'll join you on that one, Sean.
So CJ, any other futures you like?
Absolutely.
I got you down for over 8.5 wins in the division, but it's chomping at the bit. What else you got?
I got some real good ones for you.
All right.
And I'm sprinkling. I would rather do Trevor Lawrence MVP than I would most interceptions, to be honest. At 40-1.
You think can possibly get that?
I mean,
40-1.
At 40-1, it's not bad for quarterback, #1 pick who will be throwing deep. I mean, who had. Like I said, he was injured.
He's got great hair.
For his last 5 games, you put those 18 games together of the second half of 2022 and the first half of 2023. Yeah, and MVP. Even Doug Peterson's 45-1 to coach of the year. He was robbed 2 years ago. Absolutely robbed. When I had a ticket on him, came in 3rd, I believe, whatever. And then of course last year he's actually 16-1 to be the first one fired, which isn't too bad either. But
CJ quietly is a Benedict.
But I'm gonna give you my real futures here.
He's got all the
one I like. Now the defense we talked about a little bit. They have an entirely new defensive coaching staff. They got rid of everybody, and they brought in Ryan Nielsen as defensive coordinator, who was in Atlanta last year, but just for the 1 year. And this is what he does. He does press coverage and he does a 4-man rush and he brings pressure. Atlanta went from 23rd in points allowed down to 18th, which is all right, but yards allowed they went from 27 to 11th. But this is where we really took notice here for us. They doubled their production in sacks into 1 year.
Saxonville, it's right there.
Saxonville, right there. Atlanta went from 21 to 42. Last year, Jacksonville already had 41 sacks. Their over/under this year is 41.5.
Okay.
So if they stay the same, that's the number. I think that easily goes over. That's a straight prop. Now,
So over 41 and a half.
over 41.5 team sacks. I don't like doing individual props because you're kind of tying up your money. You got to fade injuries.
Yeah.
Like I think that's just a sucker bet. But I will do.
I will say my combing through the quotes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There have been a lot of talk about simplifying what these pass rushers have to do.
Now, if I'm jumping ahead, feel free to hop in here. But what is Jacksonville to lead the league in sacks?
I didn't. You did not jump ahead. I did not get.
Okay.
Those are your kind of markets.
What is
I
that?
got
What is
I
that?
got it right here.
Kramer, because Josh Allen is 9-1 to lead the league in sacks. So if you already have
for sure
Josh Allen,
who had
maybe they get something out of the rookie.
Well, this is what I'm going to get to. What is the total for
50-1?
50-1 is amazing for Saxonville. Toss that in there.
I'm just going to write Saxonville 50-1.
50-1. I gave this out last year. Now, speaking of number 1 overall picks, Trayvon Walker.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
He had 3.5 his rookie year.
Okay.
And second year last year,
Quietest rookie year of
very
any
quiet
first round
rookie
pick
year.
ever.
He jumped to 10 sacks last year.
Yeah.
Even though
No one talked
quiet
about it.
no one
too.
talked about it, very quietly. Now this year, as you said, the new coordinator Ryan Nielsen, Walker's apparently looked great. He said himself, all I have to do now is put my hand in the dirt. I don't have to think. I can ball. They had him dropping back in pass coverage
That was
the
really
last
dumb.
couple years. This is absolutely
Really
insane. And apparently he looks amazing. Him and Josh Allen only helps him.
Yeah.
They had 27 sacks combined last year. A lot of it was on Josh Allen. But to win Defensive Player of the Year, coming up in his third year, apparently he's added a bunch of repertoires to his pass rush moves of double swims and all that technique that he's been dominating in a training camp. I love a number 1 overall pick for market value.
You need the pedigree, I think.
Right. And the sack guys usually get these Defensive Player of the Year 100-1 for Trayvon Walker.
Couple notes. It's actually Josh Hines Allen now.
Oh, I like that.
I like that.
Is that a NIL type deal?
I don't know.
It's got a
HIN.
ketchup thing.
Yeah.
Also worth noting, Sean, we once hung out in the green room of the Win studio with this man. In fact, he was the hand size comparison.
Oh, okay.
To the kid who got drafted by Detroit. Why am I blanking? Hutchinson.
Mhm.
Hutch.
Arik Armsted
Tiny hands.
was brought in by this team
Yes.
as a vet. He's
not
also
practicing right now, but he's getting into.
But go look at every defensive line this dude has been on, even going back to his days in college. They've all been dominant. I think as far as
this 50-1
leadership role,
Yeah,
though.
that's pretty great.
And again, when you read things like that, it just it makes you wonder, like, what kind of calculus were these idiots trying to coach into these football players? Like, because honestly, some of the same stuff's happening in the Giants. Here's what really happened, Sean. If I'm pulling back the curtain, I realized that there's a lot of similarities between the Jags and the Giants. And so, yeah, no, I think the simplification of what they're asking the pass rushers to do is going to be great. I mean, again, similar parallels, but Kayvon Thibodeau also made that jump to 10 sacks.
Is Tom Coughlin still a consultant down there?
No, he's with the Raiders right now, and Antonio Pierce. They need Coughlin, but yeah. 50-1. I think we're gonna. I don't have too many most sacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Props.
No, this is a great market.
This and just so if you want to know, the most of them, like the favorites are all sub 20-1. So having a price of 50-1 is pretty nice.
Pretty nice. And give yourself.
So I'll join on that.
Yeah,
one.
and give yourself a nice secure play their team total over 41.5. That's it.
I like how you're bringing -110 props. That's very responsible.
You know.
Can I give you a? Can I step in with an angle?
Sure.
All right.
That's what the show is.
Would you argue that C.J. Stroud? I know, even though it was a rookie year, a lot of things went right.
Yeah.
In terms of his production, stats wise, especially, he passed for 4,108 yards. And would you also agree that Trevor Lawrence had a really
I feel like I'm on the stand.
The injury was a problem, and he probably had a pretty suboptimal year in terms of overall yardage.
Yeah, definitely.
He passed for 4,016 yards. So the difference between these two guys was less than 100 yards. That stood out to me because when you go look at the market, Sean, Trevor Lawrence to lead the division in passing yards. I couldn't find a head-to-head market, but if I could find a head-to-head market, I would imagine it will be priced similar, and I'll take Lawrence versus Stroud. And I know we have Will Levis, the ceiling case. I'm going to add in a little Trevor Lawrence at plus 170.
Okay.
And really, I want a head-to-head matchup versus Stroud. He should not be the dog.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. Bobby Slowick is going to continue to run the ball. I think if anything, that's going to be a bigger part of what this team does with Joe Mixon. You see how rock hard they are for him. So I again, not a Trevor Lawrence stan, but why is he a dog to CJ Stroud in this market?
Yeah, they're going to boomer it, run first, run second, and then let Stroud just do something.
They were one of the Houston was one of the highest teams in that run pass rate. That angers the nerds.
The cook rate, as it's now being called, I'm hearing on the shows.
I think I heard it from the same guy.
Yeah.
CJ, any I'll step in here for my underdog play.
Oh, okay.
Even with that high ankle sprain, Trevor Lawrence still ran for 339. Before that, 291. For that, 334. He consistently gets you some rushing yards. His lower on underdogs, 299.5. I'm going to fire on the higher. I think Trevor shakes loose every once in a while. He's good for, I don't think he's going to run less. So 299.5 rushing yards. That feels pretty good. I'll take the higher on that. Any underdog stuff you like season long for the Jags?
Did they have a Trayvon Walker sack total?
Let's see.
Because I know he's 8.5 at Bet Online, and I mean, like I said, he went from 3.5 to 10.
No D.
And he's just going to do a jump. All right, I'll take. Oh, that's no problem. How about a Travis Etienne?
Yeah, ETN, we got 7.5 rushing touchdowns, 925.5 rushing yards.
And he did get 1,000 yards last year, despite having a horrendous offensive line. They averaged 3.5 a carry. They've focused on trying to improve that to help out Trevor Lawrence, and not so he's not sitting like a sitting duck back there. I'll take over 900 yards rushing for Travis Etienne.
CJ on the higher. Travis
I'm
Etienne
sorry, for the lawyers, higher.
I'm higher.
Yeah, Ryan's always higher.
Well, I don't know. I did see some Tank Bigsby love. I was a little worried about that
for sure.
Kramer, you want to close out with an underdog play?
Yeah. I was just double checking a number real quick.
Okay.
Why don't you talk?
The vamp?
Just vamp for a second.
All right. Well, we got 32 NFL team previews. Of course, get in on the phrase that pays. Do you remember, CJ, what today's word was?
Shit.
I do.
Okay.
Absolutely, I do.
Give it out again for the folks.
It was drink Ovaltine. No, it was the phrase that pays was game with a question mark.
Game with a question mark. So add that to your list. Shout out to everyone who keeps sending me updated.
It's like 5 words.
Yeah.
Game with the punctuation.
Also telling people to come out to Vegas. That sign up weekend coming out there. And
CJ's going to be out hanging out.
I heard there's an inconsensual hug from Stephanie Smalls, but if you come out, I will be there and I will get you. And you come up to me and you find us, I will get you in the new edition of Road to 10 Million.
So Road to 10 Million.
You'll make the movie.
Confirmed in Road to 10 Million. Confirmed handshake from me.
Yep.
Unconfirmed hug from Steffi Smalls.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's up to Steffi, but producer
no, that's not how that works.
Producer Ryan guaranteed it.
Yeah.
Come by. So we will be setting up
kissing booth style. You don't have a choice in this.
That's with me. That's the handshake. It's like a glory hole, but my hand's coming through. You don't know who's on the other side.
Oh, man. A little tug there. We're gonna be set up. Have a nice little booth to come say hi. We'll be doing a couple shows from there. There's some open bar events. Get signed up for the contest. Have some cocktails with us and Derek. It's gonna be a grand old time. Cannot wait. And Bet Bash as well this week. Hit us up if you're going to be out there. Kramer, take us out with your underdog play.
Trevor Lawrence higher 3.5 rushing touchdowns. He's done it the past 2 years. He was hurt last year. I can't imagine that's going to be a problem for him to get over.
I do. Yeah. I like the yards and the touchdowns. Feels like a fun little play there. All right. Closing it out with the best bets. If we can pull those up on the screen, make sure you subscribe to CJ Sullivan Bottom Line Bombs podcast as well.
Which by the way, he's rushed for 50 first downs in the past 2 seasons. Trevor Lawrence.
and that's with that ankle injury. So CJ,
Who do I got to send a picture to? What is this?
Oh boy.
Jesus.
You're there. You can't see.
the mysterious man in the box.
Next time we'll
Yeah,
just
at least
put a box.
put a box emoji up
put
there or
a
something.
box.
My God.
At CJ Sullivan _ on X. Prediction has him going 10-7. I think I'm. Where am I at?
I
With
like that,
Jacksonville.
yeah.
I'm at 8-9. I could see 7-10, but I'll go 8-9.
Oh.
And then Kramer 9-8, just over. So we got right about the win total. But CJ has the over case. Also, Saxonville, baby.
That's a good looking menu I got there.
Jacksonville to have the most sacks, 50-1. Love that. Trayvon Walker, Defensive Player of the Year. CJ's on that. The over sacks, the division. And there the box as mentioned. Nice work by producer Josh.
That's
there.
a ring box for crying out loud.
AFC South most wins. Now not 100% of Jacksonville bet, but
Right.
I like that market. I think if Tennessee can pull their weight, look out. And Christian Kirk most receptions. Kramer tied me to that one.
I like that play
As well. Kramer, we will be back. What time?
4
4:00. What
4
team are we
p.m.
going to be
Pacific.
talking about?
I think it's the Rams.
Just ram it.
Yeah. Rams at 4, Bucks tonight, 3-a-days.
Wow.
3-a-days.
Remember those?
Oh
Three. I mean, that's when we drank from the hose.
Yeah.
Got all
Thank you
those
for participating in the
fucking
Sports Gambling
chemicals in our
Podcast.
body.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
It's weird to not be negative on Jacksonville.
Kramer. Let it ride.